Hi guys, my name is Daryl, and today I want to show you another great piece of bodybuilding history. This is probably the rarest piece that I have in my collection, and this is the Ed Jubenville Moon Bench. Now the Moon Bench was a staple of the bodybuilders from the 50s and 60s, and this particular bench that I have comes from the 60s, and I don't know what ever happened to the Moon Bench over the years, but it was considered one of the secret weapons of the bodybuilders back in the 50s and 60s, and a lot of guys used this particular bench to really develop their back and chest and shoulders. And it's just one of those benches that went kind of to the wayside. I don't know why it did, but it's a great piece of bodybuilding history. It's a great bench to use, and I'm just surprised that it still isn't in modern day gyms. So I don't know where it kind of faded away, but I've been looking for this bench for a very long time, and here's a picture of it in the Ed Jubenville catalog. Now, if you could ever come across one of these, especially from the Ed Jubenville era, you definitely want to hold on to it. It's a very valuable piece of bodybuilding history. It's a very rare piece, one of the rarest pieces in the Ed Jubenville collection. So before I made this video, I looked online to see if there were any demonstrations of the actual Ed Jubenville Moon Bench, and I have not seen anything I've come across, and I've looked for months scouring the internet and YouTube, and there has only been a couple of videos demonstrating or talking about the Moon Bench, just showing a picture of an older type of Moon Bench, but not the Ed Jubenville Moon Bench. And so this will be the first video ever to show the demonstration of the exercises of the actual Ed Jubenville Moon Bench. Now the Moon Bench, the reason why I was so interested in finding this bench is because Vince Gironda had a Moon Bench in his gym. It wasn't this particular bench that I have, but it was his own design. So he made his out of wood, and it's the same ideas, the same angles, and so he demonstrates these incredible exercises off the Moon Bench. And I saw him in pictures years ago, and he never really talked about the Moon Bench too much in his literature. So these pictures that I came across were very rare. It just kind of shows him doing these particular exercises, and I was always intrigued. I was like, man, where is that bench? And I was hoping when I got the Vince's gym equipment that it was going to still be in with the collection, but it must have something must have happened to it, or he got rid of it, or someone bought it, and it was never seen again. And so I don't know where the actual his Moon Bench went, but for years after, I was trying to find anything that was even close to what he had, and then I came across the Ed Jubenville line, and that was from the 50s and 60s, and I saw the Moon Bench, and I was like, I had to have it. And so I've been looking for it for years. This is one of the rarest pieces that I have in my collection, and it's one of my favorite pieces. And it's a silly looking bench, but man, it really works. It totally isolates the chest in a whole different way. And so here it is, guys, for the very first time ever shown in video. This is the Ed Jubenville Moon Bench. And so here it is, guys. This is the Ed Jubenville Moon Bench, and you can see the condition of this one is an absolutely incredible shape. This is from the 1960s. I don't know if the person that owned it before, if they knew how to use it, or they just didn't use it, but it's in unbelievable condition. Everything is original here. This is the original upholstery, the frame, the wood, everything is just spectacular. And for most people, they would probably think they would have no idea what they're looking at, but this is a famous Moon Bench that was from the 1950s and 60s, and one of the secret weapons to bodybuilders of that era. And I don't know why it's no longer in production, but it's too bad because it's a great piece. So now I'd like to demonstrate the exercise that you can do on the Moon Bench. So the first exercise we can do is the chest fly. So you just lie back, and your back is contoured to the bump, and then you just exhale and come up. And it really opens up the chest here. there's something about this angle when you get the rib expansion here that you can't get on the incline bench. Because as soon as you get into this position, you can see your abdominals really stretch here, and your rib cage really kind of opens up. So it's really allowing a deeper stretch to the pectorals than you would if you just did it on the incline bench like this one. It allows you to really get that deep stretch, and the hump pushes against your thoracic spine, so it really gives you incredible bone support. So it feels like you got this more power to generate as you go into the contraction, and it's just an unbelievable feeling. And it's hard to explain unless you can actually try this. It's like you're probably looking at it going, well, that's a silly looking bench, but once you get into that stretch, it's a total game changer to doing a chest fly, because again, you're really opening up that chest here and then contracting. And ever since I've been doing these, it's an incredible feeling. And you would never think that something like this would matter, but just that angle and the way it contours to your back, right there, that stretch is incredible. Once you do a few sets on this thing, man, you'll never go back. I'll never go back to a regular incline chest fly ever again, just because this is really a game changer. And it really, that right here, that to have that position right here and to have that support with the way your rib cage is kind of expanded and exposed here, it just really creates a whole different feel and a different effect on the chest that I've ever experienced. So it's something that I'll always continue to do. And so another exercise you can do is the dumbbell pullover. Now, you've seen this 1,000 times on a flat bench on YouTube, where guys will just put their head and shoulders on the bench with their hips up, and then they take a dumbbell and go over their head and back up. And so this was popularized by Frank Zane, and it's something that he always advocated to help develop the serratus anterior. And Arnold even talked about it too, kind of get that rib expansion as well. But with the Moon bench, it puts you into that rib expansion automatically, and then you get more of a stretch when you bring the dumbbell over your head. So you're contouring to the pad, and you're getting a tremendous stretch on the abdominals too. So it really kind of brings everything more into this stretch position than you would if you were just doing it on the flat bench. And so this is a great exercise. So this is the dumbbell pullover, and you just take the dumbbell and you would stretch way back here, and then exhale and come up. And then you go back, and it's more than just doing it on the flat bench, because you get a little stretch on your abdomen as well. And you are hitting that serratus anterior part, and you exhale. So it really hits right at that point, right between the pectorals and the lats. And you can really reach back. And so it's another one of those exercises that, unless you try it, it's just really hard to explain the sensation you get from it. It's a lot different than when you do it on the flat bench. The flat bench is good too, especially if you don't have a Moon bench, but I find that with the flat bench, I don't get that same rib expansion that you do on the Moon bench, and that's key. I think that you have to get that really that contoured position that the Moon bench provides to really get a little bit more stretch out of the serratus anterior, as well as it really helps stretch the abdominals here. So you get these, and it's good for your back too. So it's just really good for the contour of the back, and it's one of those exercises that really helps kind of helps develop that V taper. It's a great exercise, and again, it's one of those that I'll never go back to the flat bench version of this exercise. So now it's always going to be on the Moon bench. And so one of the pictures I saw 30 years ago was actually Vince doing this particular exercise on the Moon bench. So, if he was doing it back then, I realized that it was something of value. So it's just another great exercise on the Moon Bench. Now, possibly my favorite exercise on the Moon Bench, I mean, those other two are phenomenal, but this is probably my favorite exercise. And this is the one, when I saw Vince doing this on his Moon Bench 30 years ago, this is why I wanted to get the Moon Bench. Because just from looking at the pictures, I realized that the positioning and the contraction on the posterior deltoids would be absolutely incredible, because it's more effective than doing just a bent over posterior raise. Again, it's best to have that sort of that bone support, to have, you know, everything kind of loaded onto the deltoids without putting any stress anywhere else in your body. And sometimes when you do bent over movements with dumbbells, if you're not really paying attention, there is a way that you can hurt your lower back, and it's just not going to feel as effective when you're working the muscles when your back is getting strained. So the Moon Bench is a great apparatus to use because it keeps everything isolated onto the muscle that it's supposed to be working. And this has become my favorite posterior deltoid exercise. And so what you do is you contour the pad, and now this is extremely comfortable here. It's like, you know, there's no strain on your lower back, and your upper body is well supported. And then you bring the dumbbells underneath the bench and touch the dumbbells, so you get a little more stretch on the posterior strands of the deltoid. And then you keep your head down, and then you raise the dumbbells up and out in front just a little bit. It really isolates the posterior deltoids like nothing I've ever done before, because it really gives you that support. It gives you that bone support in the front. Now you can do stuff like this, like I've seen guys do it on like an incline bench, and it's similar, but it's not exactly the same. It's like, you know, I've done those before, but there's something about the hump that allows you to kind of get in that sort of that contoured position, because as the bump comes up, it kind of contours and kind of comes down a little bit. So it allows you to kind of get your head down, and your shoulders come just down a little bit as well, and it isolates the posterior deltoid just a little differently. So if I'm like on an incline bench here, going sort of straight up like this, it just doesn't really hit the same lines as this bench does. And that's what makes it so unique, because when you're, you know, it really gets you into this position here, so that, you know, you're kind of coming back downhill here with your torso, your shoulders, and it really just puts all the stress into the posterior deltoid. It's one of those, unless you try it, you're not going to know what it feels like to get, but it really isolates. I mean, it might look stupid, it might look like, wow, this, you know, this is like a, you know, a really silly exercise, but when you feel it for the first time and you do it, like, wow, this totally makes more sense. No, it's just having a different angle, because we're so used to just doing everything on an incline bench, whether it's your chest press or your, you know, some posterior work. But when you change it up, and then you can feel the different positioning of the spine in this sort of this contoured position, and the way it isolates and really hits those deltoids, it's totally different than anything else. It's better than doing it bent over, because, you know, when you're bent over, you know, you're going to get some, obviously you're going to activate the posterior deltoids. So there's something about pressing against the pad that allows you to kind of get just a little more leverage, or just it gives you a little more power, and it really isolates those deltoids a lot differently. So it's a great exercise. It has become my favorite posterior deltoid exercise, and it's just a great bench. It's like it's the craziest looking thing, but I mean, this bench it's a great tool to have. I mean, you can also do stuff like, you can do, you know, again, if you suffer from low back problems, you know, you can do, you know, it keeps the lower back totally isolated, and you can You can do row motions like this. You know, again, it's just a different way of working the back without, you know, crushing your lower back. Do isolated bicep curls on both sides. So it's kind of like a spider curl. You can keep the elbows back. You can do a tricep kickback. Which is a really good one to do too, because again, you're having that support of the torso, and it really allows you to get the contraction of the triceps a little bit fuller, because when you do them standing, there's a tendency to kind of just throw your body around. But when you're here and you come into it, you know, it just feels more engaging on the triceps. So you can really isolate. Another great one, another one of my favorites, is the tricep overhead extension using the Inferno bar. It gets you an incredible stretch, and it drops right down perfectly, and you exhale, and you get this stretch contraction. And so the idea with the overhead tricep extension is you want the elbow to be back at an angle, not straight up and down, perpendicular to your body. You want it to have an angle, and then you're going to extend the arms away from your body. So you're in this position like this, and being on this bench allows you to really keep that, the bone support here, and then you can really get the isolation on the tricep. And then the bar drops right down next to the bench, it comes right back up. And man, that will blow your triceps out like crazy. And it's a great bench for that, because the bench is narrow. It allows the Inferno bar to come right down next to the bench, and then you can come right up, so you can get a full range, as well as that stretch that you get as the dumbbell goes down, pull on the triceps, and then you come up, and the intensity is built right in. It's great. And then another one you can do here, you can do a reverse hyperextension. It's just a great way to keep your back in the right position and in the neutral position as you hinge the hips, and then you go into that contraction. And so it's just a great way to get the support for your lower back, using the reverse side of this bench to do the hyper extension exercise. And so they're just, you know, you can kind of create your own exercises, but there's just so many exercises you can do with this bench, which makes it so valuable and very unique. It's one of those things that you don't really see. I've never seen this bench anywhere. In a real gym. I know that they're out there, but I don't know why they stopped making them. I think that, you know, it's a great tool to have, and it really changes the exercise in a whole different way, especially if you're just doing like the typical incline bench. Again, I love the incline bench, but there's something different about this angle when you're doing the chest fly now. That just, for me, it's just a game changer. When I do the pullovers, the stretch is incredible. The posterior deltoid exercise is, again, my favorite exercise now for building the deltoids. Being able to do the tricep Inferno bar extension is just a great bonus to have. I mean, you could probably do a dumbbell tricep extension as well, but I really like this for the Inferno bar. I love the pullover. It's a great piece of history. It's a great bench, something that I'm going to continue to use to keep building the physique. And you know, I'm so happy to finally have found this. It's been over 30 years since I've been able to actually find it and to have it in my possession. and especially one that's in really good condition like this one. It's almost brand new. I mean, the upholstery is absolutely incredible, and it has the famous Jubenville stamp underneath, so you know it's authentic. And again, it's a great piece of bodybuilding history. And guys, if you have any questions, you can email me. You can find my email on my website. It's at www.darylconrad.com. I do teach Vince's methods to those that want to know it. I do personalized training online, and I only teach, I share all the secrets that I learned from Vince, all the methods. And if you're interested in that, you can find that on my website as well. And I sell my books Convinced and Invincible online. I do the PDF version as well as the softcover version. So you can pick those up on my website as well. And again, that's www.darylconrad.com. I want to thank you very much for watching. Take care. See you next time.